The flower truck was not just a business. For Eleanor, it was a quiet promise to bring beauty to those who needed it most. But how would the people of Asheville respond when they see what she has planned? At 66, she possessed a spirit that refused to be dampened by life's storms. Her days were filled with purpose, dedicating herself to her beloved flower truck named Ellie's Blooms. Children's eyes widened in awe as they pointed to the blooms, their laughter echoing through the street. Among them was a young boy named Mason, his gaze fixed on a bright yellow sunflower. Ellie would help her arrange them in a mason jar, her gentle touch bringing a sense of calm to the older woman. After she finished her rounds, the children would gather around her truck, their eyes sparkling with wonder as they pointed to their favorite flowers. Ellie would hand them small daisies to tuck behind their ears, their giggles echoing in the afternoon breeze. These moments brought a lightness to her heart, reminding her of the joy that blossomed in the simplest of interactions. His eyes sparkled with excitement as Ellie taught him the language of flowers. People who had been weighed down by their troubles seemed lighter now, their faces brighter. They found solace in the simple act of creating beauty, even in the smallest form. The square came alive with music as local musicians joined Ellie, filling the air with melodies that mingled with the fragrance of the flowers. "For you, Miss Ellie, because you're our sunshine," he said shyly. She opened the hatch one last time, letting the evening breeze dance among the flowers. "Thank you," she whispered to the mountains, her voice carrying the weight of 1,000 unspoken words. In that moment, she knew she wasn't just driving a flower truck. She was cultivating hope, tending to hearts, and nurturing a community that had become her family. And as the stars twinkled above her, she realized that sometimes the greatest strength comes from the smallest of blooms. Jasmine, with her daughter in her arms, embraced Ellie tightly. "Your flowers kept me going," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. Mr. Thompson, his eyes shining with gratitude, placed a bouquet on the truck. "You helped me heal," he said simply. Ellie stood surrounded by the townspeople, her heart overflowing with emotion. Tears streamed down her face as she looked at the sea of smiling faces, each holding a bloom from her truck. "Tom would have loved this," she whispered to the sky, her voice filled with gratitude. Neighbors sipped coffee, sharing stories and laughter, as if the troubles of the world were suspended in the warmth of the day. "This is a peony," she said, handing him one. "It means bravery." Mason beamed, clutching the flower as if it were a treasure. Watching the children, Ellie's heart swelled with happiness. She saw in their eyes the same wonder that had drawn her to flowers in the first place. "They're still with us, you know," Ellie would say softly, her voice echoing the sentiment. She was exhausted, both from her demanding job and the emotional toll it had taken on her. His eyes were re-dimmed, his shoulders slumped with grief. Then came the day before the second anniversary of Tom's passing. The townspeople wanted to do something special for Ellie. They organized a surprise gathering at the town square, decorating her flower truck with colorful ribbons and handmade cards. Signs with messages of gratitude and affection were tied to the truck, creating a sea of love that engulfed Ellie. Recognizing his sorrow, led him to a patch of soft white lilies. "These are for remembrance," she said gently. Mr. Thompson nodded, tears streaming down his face. "Thank you for not letting me feel alone." In that moment, Ellie understood the true power of her flower truck. It wasn't just about selling flowers, it was about selling hope, healing, and most importantly, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the sun would rise again. As she gazed at the flowers, she saw a reflection of her own weariness. Ellie, sensing her exhaustion, handed her a bunch of wildflowers without expecting payment. "These are for you," she said softly, "for all you do." Jasmine's eyes welled up with tears as she clutched the flowers, their vibrant colors a stark contrast to the gray skies. "Thank you," she whispered, surprised by the unexpected kindness. "I needed this." In that moment, Ellie's flower truck became more than just a shop. It was a sanctuary where the language of flowers spoke volumes, where a simple sunflower could lift spirits, and where weary souls found solace in the beauty that surrounded them. Mrs. Carter's eyes would glisten with tears as she nodded. finding comfort in Ellie's words and the fragrant blooms that filled her home with color and life. With a handful of coins in his hand, he approached Ellie's truck hesitantly, his heart pounding like a drum. Excuse me?" he began, his voice barely a whisper. "How much is this one?" Ellie looked up from her flower arranging, her eyes crinkling at the corners as she saw the boy's earnest expression. As the weather warmed, Ellie decided to host small bloom days, events that combined the joy of flowers with the spirit of community. On these days, she would park her truck at the town square, transforming it into a hub of activity. Children would gather around, their laughter echoing as they learned to create their own small bouquets. "For your mama," Mason added shyly, holding out the coins. Ellie's heart melted at the child's innocence. "It's on the house," she said softly, taking the sunflower and wrapping it in brown paper. "Tell your mama this one is from her little sunshine." Mason's face lit up like a Christmas tree as he clutched the sunflower close, his earlier shyness replaced by a beaming smile. "Thank you," he whispered as he ran down the street, his laughter mingling with the birdsong. Ellie watched him go, a single tear rolling down her cheek. "Tom, we're still helping them," she whispered to the sky, her voice thick with emotion. In that moment, she knew she wasn't just selling flowers, she was selling hope, the kind that bloomed in the hearts of children and echoed in the laughter of the innocent. Every morning, as the first rays of sunlight kissed the horizon, Ellie would rise with the intention of transforming lives through the simple magic of flowers. People began anticipating her arrival, standing at their street corners with hopeful smiles. Among them was Mrs. Carter, an elderly woman who found solace in Ellie's blooms. Every Friday morning, she would sit on her porch swing, her gaze fixed on the road. When she saw Ellie approaching, she would wave excitedly, her eyes twinkling with joy. Ellie would respond with a warm smile, her heart swelling with the desire to bring a bit of sunshine to the old woman's life. Her truck, a symbol of hope, awaited her touch, and with gentle hands, she would arrange the freshly picked blooms, ensuring each arrangement was a masterpiece. The air inside the truck was always alive with the sweet fragrance of roses, daisies, and lavender, creating an olfactory journey that calmed the soul. Our story begins in the picturesque town of Asheville, nestled amidst the rolling hills of North Carolina. Each stop was a mini adventure, a chance to brighten someone's day with the vibrant hues of a sunflower or the delicate charm of a daisy chain. She was not just a florist, she was a walking ray of sunshine, spreading cheer wherever she went. But Ellie's mission held a deeper significance. It was a tribute to her late husband, Tom, whose memory lived on in every petal she arranged. 2 years had passed since Tom had left her, but the love they shared continued to bloom in her heart. It was a place where time seemed to slow down, allowing the locals to connect with nature and each other on a deeper level. However, beneath this idyllic surface, a sense of despair was quietly growing. The town had recently faced economic hardship with several layoffs, leaving many families grappling with financial uncertainty. The weight of these challenges hung heavy in the air, threatening to overshadow the town's vibrant spirit. Amidst this somber atmosphere lived Eleanor James, a woman whose age was just a number, for her heart was as young as the sunflower she tended. As the town woke up, Ellie would start her engine, not just to transport flowers, but to deliver a dose of happiness to those who needed it most. One crisp Saturday morning, Ellie parked her truck on Main Street, its colorful display spilling onto the sidewalk like an artist's palette. As the weeks turned into months, Ellie's flower truck became a familiar sight in Asheville, its cheerful presence a balm to the town's weary souls. Each Friday, Mrs. Carter would choose a small bouquet, usually a mix of lavender and pink carnations, her favorites. On Wednesdays, Ellie would park near the local elementary school, the sound of children's laughter ringing in her ears. One rainy evening, Jasmine, a young nurse, found herself at Ellie's truck. With each passing season, Ellie's impact on Asheville grew, her flower truck becoming a beacon of hope in a town that desperately needed it. One such bloom day, Mason arrived with his mother, proudly helping her tie ribbons around small sunflowers. As the bloom days continued, Ellie noticed something remarkable. One afternoon, Mr. Thompson, a man who had lost his wife, Margaret, to cancer a year ago, approached Ellie's truck. 2 years flew by, and Ellie continued to bring her blooms to Asheville, touching countless lives along the way. Mason, now 11, presented her with a sunflower, its bright petals mirroring the joy in his eyes. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the square, Ellie drove her flower truck to the overlook.